Adam, I tell you what, crow is a little hard to eat, little tough, hard to digest.
Don't go down good. But you know what, Clark?
What's that?
We got an orange for dessert, baby. Woo!
Hello and welcome to Row 60, a Georgia football podcast. My name is Clark Gaines. Joining me today, as always, Adam Thornton.
Yes, sir.
And this is show number 17. That one hurt a little bit there, Adam. That was like a knife in the chest.
It was, Clark. It was. Hey, but we're here. We're here, and this is the first annual Row 60 podcast episode following a Georgia football loss.
Yep.
And hey, we've made a good run to get to this point, so we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly from Saturday night in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, give you our thoughts of where the program is heading, what happened last night. But hey, we're going to the playoffs.
That's right.
The ultimate goal is still within reach, and we need to tell the Georgia faithful to get up and get ready for it.
That's right. No negativity.
That's right.
We may be critical on this episode. But we are not going to degrade. No. We're not going to downsize anything. You can go to Facebook for all that and look up all that. So we're not going to be that way, but we're also not going to make any excuses whatsoever.
Exactly.
None should be made about this football game. The Dogs just didn't play well.
That's right, Clark. We're not going to be all sunshines and rainbows and unicorns
as much as we want to be.
Fair. We're not going to. I don't have any pixie dust in this cup. I mean, we're going to talk about what's happened, and but. We need to just have a view over the whole entire just spectrum of where we're at as a program, what happened in Atlanta Saturday night, and what we got to do going forward from here.
Right.
So let's do it.
Let's do it. So on this episode, as always, we're going to be talking about the game day atmosphere, give you our weekly concession stands report. We'll also share some fun facts and stats. Not many this week.
Fun facts.
Talk about the offense, defense, and special teams. And then talk about what's next. What is ahead for the Georgia Bulldogs and this football team? Because like you said, Adam, it's not over. Every goal that we have is still within reach. And so that is important to understand.
Well, Clark, that's the main thing. There's 130 or 130 plus FBS football teams, and only 4 can make it to reach the ultimate goal in the first week of December, after when the selection show Sunday is. And Georgia, once again, is one of those 4 teams, people. Yeah. So embrace it, man. Stop sulking and get ready to go.
That's it.
Get up and just realize that, hey, life hits you in the face in every area, and football right here in the football world, this is where it hits you in the face. And how do you respond to it, Clark?
Right.
How do you respond to it, you know?
That's where championship teams arise, is after some of these losses. And, Kirby was saying that. He said today when I was listening to him after the selection, he said, a lot of teams that he's coached in the past learn so much more after a loss as opposed to a win. And Adam, I was saying that on the way back last night coming home. I think we learned more, and we're going to be more humble going into the next one, losing this game. Instead of us winning it,
That's right, Clark. I mean, you think about it and you look at it, and all you've got to say, there's no excuses. Georgia got their tails whooped. They were manhandled on both fronts. Eat my crow from that, because I thought we were going to dominate.
Well, me too.
I really did, on both sides of the ball, and they got out-coached completely too. Nick Saban and Bill O'Brien and the offensive staff for Alabama, and on both sides of the football, ran a clinic against Kirby Smart and his group. Right. So no excuses made. They were just manhandled.
Yeah.
They were manhandled. And sometimes that happens. But hey, like you said, Clark, any time in life when adversity hits you, no matter what it is, in our personal jobs, whatever life throws at you, your character and your integrity is defined of how you react to it. So what's going to be exciting is Georgia's going to get the chance to react to it and see. And you got 3 or 4 weeks to do it.
Yeah.
So let's see what they do, people.
Yeah.
Let's be behind them and let's see what they do. And then any type of wanting to just have a pitch a hissy fit or explode or really just get all down and out about the program. See what transpires.
Right.
I mean, golly, it's not like, Clark, we need to just say this right here at the beginning of the episode and make a point of it. And you dial in on this too. How many times were we excited to be 10-2 as Georgia football fans and make the Sugar Bowl or either go to the Capital One Bowl. I mean, there was a lot of times back when it was called the Capital One Bowl, that was the premier non-BCS bowl at the time. Right. You were fired up about that New Year's Day 12 o'clock start. You were.
Your program was headed in the right direction.
That's right. That's right. And now what's the standard in college football is everybody wants to be Alabama. I mean, we want to, but you're never going to see a Alabama-type dynasty run of what's happened in the past, 12 or so years ever replicated. But I don't think it's unrealistic to expect that Kirby's going to get Georgia to a spot where you win a couple national championships.
Right.
And he's only 45 years old. It's going to happen. I know it's the same narrative we've said after every one of these games here, and you eventually got to get over the hump.
Yeah.
But it's not like we're talking about this, and that was our last chance. We're going to New Orleans for a New Year's Six game that people are going to opt out of. Not a lot of hype against a Big 12 team. This is different. You're still in the playoff, and you still got a chance to play Alabama again, Clark.
Yeah.
So, hey, everybody, step up. Just get out and just man up, woman up, whatever, and just be excited about it.
That's it.
And let's see what these boys can do.
Yeah.
Let's see if the character and the integrity we've heard about all year, if it's on display or not. We're going to learn a lot about them. We're going to learn a lot about this coach staff and these players. And let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Before we talk X's and O's, let's talk about the atmosphere of the game. And Adam, it was actually pretty fun leading up to the game and everything. We got to run the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, we did.
Adam, tell me about your 40-yard dash experience, because I got a little concerned there.
Yeah, well, what happened on the old 40-yard dash? It was it on the Facebook page, by the way?
I posted it on Facebook.
So it was on the Row 60 Facebook page. Okay, good deal. Well, at the fanfare, they have all these activities set up, more so geared towards the children. For interactive punt, pass, kick, whatever, fanfare, pep rallies. I mean, it's just a great thing that they've been doing for years at the SEC Championship. But before the 2017 game against Auburn in the SEC Championship, I ran the 40.
Yeah.
And I haven't the previous two times since that 17 game.
Okay.
So I said, Clark, for good mojo and good juice, we got to go run the 40. And old Clint Jordan, one of our buddies there, was there too, and he ran it with us. And so I'm 4 more years out of shape than the last time I ran it at the same venue. And I was scared I was going to rip my jeans. But Clark, we ran it together, and I made it down there. And they have kind of a land. And I gave my all. I gave my all for the 40. Did. And I was, they have some, I don't know, some, I guess, what would you call those things? Cushions? Or
barriers, yeah.
Barriers,
cushions.
Like cushions that you see in a gym class, like mats set up against the wall. And there were 2 parts of it, and one was in the front and one was in the back, and they're supposed to be pushed together. So I went full speed. I hit that barrier, and I fell in between a crease and hit the concrete with my hip, and felt like I had a little hip bruise.
Adam,
got a little bit of a limp
good.
going.
I thought we were going to have to take you to go see somebody after that.
I was struggling. Thought I had a hip pointer or something. So that we should have known there. The day just wasn't gonna start good. But hey,
that was a good indicator.
It was a good time as far as pregame fellowship and camaraderie with everybody.
The Redcoats were loud in the convention center. It just echoed. I mean, Adam, I think we about teared up listening to that. It was just a great pregame experience.
It was.
A lot of fun there. I got some Dippin' Dots, cookies and cream Dippin' Dots for $8.
Yeah.
And about that much. Not very.
Inflation, baby.
Yeah. Different times we're living in now.
That's right.
Adam, weekly concession stands report. Give it to us. Did you get anything?
I went into the bins and I got to get a hot dog, man.
Yeah.
I didn't eat no Dippin' Dots or anything really leading up to it because I needed a hot dog for this game. So Mercedes-Benz hot dogs, $1.50.
Dang,
$1.50, baby. I loved it. I got a lemonade with it, and about an hour before the game, I just sat there and took in everything and ate my hot dog, and it was a good hot dog. It was a real good hot dog. So Arthur Blank and the boys up there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, good concession prices and good hot dogs.
That's it.
We'll give it to them.
Yeah.
We'll give it to them.
I bought 3 $2 waters. That's the same amount I would be getting, one water for $6 at other places. But yeah, that's what they do. They decrease the amount of the prices for concessions, and instead you pay a little bit more up front on the ticket. But,
that's right.
But it evens out, I guess. So.
That's right. That's right, Clark. That's good. That's good. And as far as when we got in the seats, we had to sit in the Alabama section. That's where our tickets were. So we got there, and just tell you, those Alabama fans, they're interesting folks. I mean, there was really no just back and forth with each other. But, when we were up 10-0, Clark, I was getting fired up. And before the game, I'd let out some barks. I mean, everybody's heard me bark, and that's what Georgia people do. And I set myself up for it every time, especially against Alabama.
Yeah.
And you're around those fans. They start mocking you after the game gets going like that. So people see that I wear that radio headset that I have, and I've done that since I was 6 or 7 years old listening to Larry Munson. I mean, that headset I wear that you see in pictures is 18, 19 years old. So, but one thing is to listen to the game, but is when you're in away stadiums or venues like that, when things aren't going well, to drown out everybody, you just turn it on,
there you go,
ramp it up, and you don't have to hear the clutter from any fans.
The clutter.
So that is a tip for anybody going, and when things aren't going good, get you a radio headset, because you can just get in your own world and not have to listen to all the Alabama, because apparently my wife told me that they were mocking me, they were barking.
Oh, were they?
They were barking.
Oh, man.
And what do you do? There's nothing to do.
Hold up
What
now,
do you say next?
just to clarify, you're not barking at them.
No, I'm just barking as in like when Darnell scored, I say, "Here we go, baby!" And hoo, and you just get jacked up, and you find a Georgia fan around, you give them a 5 and let's go. But that deal, I'm not getting in their ear and barking a bit obnoxious like that. So they, and they want to do, and I understand, whatever. That's fine. That's what makes the sport great. But to drown them out and not hear it, you get you a radio headset and you crank it up.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And just blare it out, and that's what I do.
You see,
I've been doing that for years.
Yeah, my go-to is I always just pick up my phone, go to Twitter. I just scroll. If we're getting our tails kicked, I just scroll.
Just scroll.
Listen to what everybody else is saying, because, as they say, misery enjoys company. And boy, it felt good to have some fellow Dog fans where I was sitting we were all miserable up there, just hoping and praying that something.
Shell shocked. I wish I could have saved my face. I just kind of looked around,
and really you hope you're just praying like, oh my gosh, I really hope I don't make it on ESPN after this pick six, become a meme.
Surrender Cobra.
I was doing that quite a few times yesterday, but that's what makes the sport great is one team has to win and one team has to lose.
That's right.
That's bottom line. And you don't. I don't know. You can't expect to win many games when you can't pressure the quarterback and you can't do all that. We just did not play a good game, people.
That's right, Clark. Where do you want to start? Let's dive into it.
Let's just go. Let's start with offense.
Start with offense, baby.
Yeah.
All right. My initial thoughts on offense was open the game in the first quarter, Clark. I really thought we were getting a good push on the offense.
We were.
And we ran the ball well on them. And I didn't think we would run the ball on them good. But at the beginning of the football game, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're getting some yards there. And we were getting some good drives there going. And I mean, shoot, was it the second possession? You get the ball on the our own half-inch line.
Right.
So you go 99 yards. 99-yard touchdown, march right down the field. The defense, is playing good. They hadn't got home yet, but I'm thinking, man, they're just wearing that line down.
Yep.
And I thought, God, we're setting up good that our offensive line is going to wear down Alabama's in the second half. I mean, I sent a group text message right at the beginning of the
Adam,
game
you
in all caps saying, we're going to dominate both lines of scrimmage in the second half. And that did not age well at all. That made me look very dumb going back. I mean, I always want to just go back and delete it where I never have to see it after that. But truly, at the beginning of the game, I thought we were the more physical. And leading up to it, I thought we were the more physical physical team, Clark. But the offensive line, as the game progressed, the push became less and less, And I tell you, Clark, big thing too. We'll dive deeper. But the big glaring issues on offense, Clark, you've got to convert better on third downs. I don't know whatever it's the playmakers having to happen or the calls, however you want to put it. You can't be 25% on third downs and expect to win the game. And you got to score in the red zone.
Yeah.
I love the first touchdown pass. We've been talking about it all year. You got somebody 6'7" like Darnell Washington matched up against somebody who's going to be undersized against him. Just lofted off a good fade pass. Going to go up there and get it. And that's what they did to get that first touchdown. But, you can't either turn the ball over. You can't not convert on fourth down try or settle for many field goals when you're in the red zone against teams like Alabama. With an offense like Alabama, you have to capitalize on that.
You got to punch it.
So when you get inside the 20, those woes will kill you. And then, Clark, you can't turn the ball over. against teams like that, you can't turn the ball over. You can't have 2 turnovers, and potentially could have been 3. There could have been 2 pick six, and it could have been one to open up the first offensive drive of the game. But luckily that didn't happen. But that's kind of just my first thoughts without diving deeper into it of what obviously was not there.
Yeah, it was a little lackluster to say the least. And like you said, I don't know if it was necessarily the play calling or we just didn't execute. It's probably a combination of both. And we can dive deep into the quarterback situation. And I think that's what everybody wants to know is what's going to happen with this quarterback situation, because you got a guy in Stetson, great story, walk-on quarterback or ex-walk-on quarterback, now starting, who's led this team to an SEC championship, undefeated.
Right.
And I mean, how do you take a guy out who's done that, right? Who's been loyal to your team, who I'm sure practices very hard. How do you take a guy out like that and then replace him with another guy who may be better?
I mean, I don't know, Clark. And going off of JT Daniels, you think back last year when he got in, and I know last year's different, but there's a lot of similar guys that are on the offense side, skill group, everything that was there last year. And man, the offense was just humming, and it looked good this year. Besides the Clemson game, and I think JT truly was hurt during that game playing. And then you think, well, Carson Beck we were told was the number 2 guy, and all of a sudden he just becomes non-existent. Stetson comes in, and Stetson played great enough throughout the year to obviously dominate games, have great offensive numbers and stats, and then Saturday night happens against Alabama, and obviously you can't sit here, and me and you both agree on this, and say it wasn't Stetson's fault. Yeah. Well, you can't, but then you can't say it was all Stetson's fault. You can't say that. You can't say he played good enough to win, but you can't say he was the sole reason that Georgia lost. Now, I will say this, and we talked about this, Clark, in the preview show. Now, we talked about this in the preview show, and then I changed my mind as the season started to go because I love defensive football so much. I wanted to see another defense break through, and they still can, Clark, because everything's still in front of us. Absolutely. But we said the game has evolved now in this area of college football where you have to have elite quarterback play and elite wide receiver play. And honestly, I don't think Georgia has either one of them. They have good now, but as far as 2019 LSU, 18 Clemson, some of these other teams that we've seen the past few years, it's not there. And then but you say, well, with the defense, if the defense is generational, well, I mean, we'll get to the defense, but I think too, Clark, if you're going to be on Stetson Bennett and say, oh, Stetson Bennett, we need to put JT Daniels in there. Yeah, maybe we could get better production from JT Daniels. I don't know, but it's not like receiver. I mean, there's definitely reads that Stetson, I think, for the past few weeks has been off on. I think there are some open guys that he is missing and not seeing the field great. I mean, we would say that. That's truth. And I think some guys are frustrated by that, but it's not like, you gotta talk about the receivers too, Clark. I mean, it's not like separations there on the receivers too, and it's not like it's elite offensive line play either. So you got to bunch it up. If you want to criticize them, you got to bunch it up into a whole. And I don't know. I mean, I really don't know going forward who will be the quarterback and which way it'll go. I mean, in my mind, they're going to stick with Stetson Bennett, but with JT Daniels, does he give us a better chance to win going forward, Clark?
I really don't know how this is going to play out. But here's the thing. If Georgia wants to make a quarterback change, if Kirby wants to make a quarterback change, now is the time. You got 4 weeks. You can use these 4 weeks to give either guy plenty of valuable reps at that at number 1 position. So you got to figure it out. And that lies on Kirby and it lies on Monken. And it really lies on who wants it more.
Right.
And, there's rumors out there saying, JT is ready to go, but there's some internal, in-house stuff that's going on. I don't know how much we're going to comment on that and speculate, but that could be something too.
Let's talk about it. I mean, let's go ahead and talk about it. We're not going to throw those rumors out, and we're going to leave it as say it right. It's rumors, folks.
Right.
This is all rumors. Hearsay. What you see, and anybody who listens to us, there's a good chance that you see them too, because you get on other podcasts, you get on Georgia message boards, you get on Facebook, Twitter, what have you, and you see those things, Clark. But I don't know if there's any validation of that, because you say there's discontentment in the locker room. That let's just say there's skill guys, and I'll say somebody like Darnell Washington, for example, that you say, and it's unfair to say him specifically, but there's smoke that he's not happy with the targets he's got. Maybe guys like Jermaine Burton, or I don't know for sure, but some of these guys aren't happy with not getting the ball, and some of the ways that the offense has I don't know, the quarterback, there might be, but then again, you hear people, the skull sessions this team has done, the team chemistry is so good. Kirby talking about the integrity in the locker room after the game, that these guys are eager and hungry for a second chance.
Yeah.
And it don't add up with what you hear out there. I just think people need to have a 24-hour rule that you don't get on Facebook, Twitter, message boards, anything after a loss like last night. Because, I mean, I'm not thinking rational and say stuff. And some people just got to realize, you know, I don't know. I mean, both arguments are made. I'm not saying we all need to get behind Stetson Bennett and that he's the guy. But because I don't know. I think Stetson will beat Michigan if you put him in there. But I think JT Daniels could beat Michigan too. And then I think the question is going to be, and we got more podcasts because we got time between the Michigan game to talk about this. Then it's going to be, will you put JT Daniels in there just to get a different look? Because the past 2 times that Stetson Bennett has played Alabama, it hadn't been good. I mean, there's definitely other areas of concern and reasons why Georgia lost that football game. You can't put sole blame on him. But I think Nick Saban and Pete Golden and Alabama's defense has it figured out. I think they know where he's going to go with the football and his reads, and they do a good job disguising it. And there was the pick 6 last night and stuff like that, and just a lot of things were, because Saban said this too. He said it. This came out of Saban's mouth that Stetson Bennett is a great quarterback when he knows the defense. But Saban also said, so that's why we disguise coverages, and bam, there you go. So you either make a lot of tweaks going forward with Stetson. I think you have to put a lot of more wrinkles in the offense, or you see if you get a different look with JT. And I like them both. And I don't know.
Well, I think too, give credit to Alabama's secondary because I think they did a great job locking down our receivers.
Yeah.
And you mentioned this last night, but it seemed like we could not, A, get separation, but B, get yards after catch.
Nothing.
Other than the Ladd McConkey screen pass.
Tunnel screen.
I tell you, I don't know, man. It confuses me offensively because sometimes, man, we look like we're clicking, and then other times it looks like, what are we doing out there? But I don't know. I listen. I don't get paid the big bucks to figure out these problems. We're going to trust in the game plan for the next 4 weeks and the process of it all, and we're going to see what we get December 31st.
I'm going to say this: I do not criticize where I will on my podcast question coach, and I'm not a coach by any means.
Yeah.
I don't have a very, very high football IQ, but I'm under this assumption. My rule is if you make more than 6 digits, or if you make 6 digits or more coaching the game of football, it comes with the territory that you have armchair quarterbacks who could question you.
That's
fair. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good money to coach football, and obviously they know more than us.
Yeah.
But just from a naked eye perspective of somebody who is very lack of knowledge of football, it just seems. I thought we abandoned the run game a little too early.
We did.
I thought we abandoned the run.
Yeah, we threw it 49 times. It almost felt like we were trying to play behind. I mean, we were to an extent, but man, just so many things went wrong, and it kind of created this snowball effect. And you're right, we kind of ventured away from our offensive game plan and trying to establish the run. Because I mean, really, you look at the game, you watch the first drive, man, it looked like we were moving some bodies on the line, or the first 2 drives. We're moving some bodies on the line. We're blocking pretty well, rush blocking. So,
Clark, I mean, to beat elite offenses like Alabama, you have to do these few things. You have to do one of these few things, or a combination of all of them. You gotta have. I mean, it's crazy that you're talking about this football, but 4 or 5 stops on defense.
Yeah.
Maybe 4 or 5. You just expect maybe 4 stops. And then either you have to be elite enough to answer them with a shootout and win a game 45-42, 52-45, something like that. Or you have to eat up time of possession on offense and keep their offense off the field.
Which is what we tried to do, but then it got to the point where we could not convert.
Yeah, then you're playing catch up.
We couldn't convert on 3rd down either. So then that kills your drives, and then you're sending your defense back out there, and they're moving the ball. So, it's just a snowball effect.
You got to capitalize in the red zone too.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought the game plan wasn't. We'll say the same thing on the defense side of the game, the ball, that the game plan just wasn't great. But I don't know, man. I don't want to sit here and be like the rest of what you hear the Pulse of Georgia Football Nation and dog Stetson Bennett, because I love Stetson Bennett. He is a Georgia boy. He loves the University of Georgia. He has laid his heart out on the line. And if some of the rumors about JT Daniels are true, Clark, my goodness, we're not going to say that though.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I truly don't, and I'm not going to pretend like I do because I have no connections with the program.
Yeah.
But it's weird.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird that I don't think he did anything to lose his job by any means at the beginning of the season. The offense was humming just as good. For him not to be plugged in, something's just not right. And it's internal, and I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to speculate on it. But I think in the next few weeks or after the season, you'll hear it more come out. But I think there's something there. Honestly, if you want to know my part, I think there's something there that there is an issue between the coaching staff, the family, JT, whatever, because I think he's healthy, Clark. But I respect and love Stetson Bennett for what he's done, and I don't know going forward. I really don't know. But people, do not just put the complete blame on Stetson Bennett for losing this football game. Yeah. Have a freaking brain and look and see what Alabama offense did. And heck, if you want to just criticize our offense, look at every position group.
Right.
I mean, the offense line didn't do terrible, but they didn't do great by any means. Yeah. And then the receivers. I mean, there was no separate. There wasn't just some elite, but you can't say Stetson Bennett played a great game last night by any means, and he did a lot to make matters worse. And, I mean, I'm going to say that.
Let's talk about the positives. There were some positives. Brock Bowers. We say this every week, but man, what a freak athlete he is! Just 10. I think he had 10 receptions. Maybe he was our leading receiver. I think he's our leading receiver throughout the whole season. Is that right?
Yeah, man, he's just a stud.
And then Ladd McConkey, great screen pass to him, to a little tunnel screen. Got some blockers downfield. He's quick. George Pickens, I think he made an incredible catch in double coverage. And, he's an athlete. I think we need to target him more. And it makes it begs the question, Adam, do you think we rotate guys a little too much and sometimes maybe don't allow them to get in a rhythm?
I do, Clark. I think this offense clicks better. And I think Stetson Bennett runs the offense better when you're not rotating them as much. And I think you would see less if there is any frustration, player. I don't want to say, but if there is, let's just say that if there is, because I don't think there is, but if there is, from what the smoke you hear, I think that would help that too. But more importantly, I think the offense would click with a little bit more tempo, especially in the second half when you're down like that. I think they've looked good in like 2-minute scenarios at the end of the half this year. And I just think some tempo would really help with this team. And I know I contradicted myself as far as saying, we got to eat up time of possession to beat a team like Alabama if you're not going to be able to outscore them. But I think you put more points on the board with some tempo and some rhythm, and I think that's something that my personal opinion. I could be dead wrong on that, but I agree with you, Clark. I think there is more. I would like to see from us playing our armchair quarterback here. And, saying that, and we're a podcast, so we get to do that. We get to do that.
That's America.
We get to play armchair quarterback.
We're free country.
That's right. This is our podcast. We get to play armchair quarterback.
That's it.
Nah, but sure enough, no, not just dog everybody. It truly is. I would like to see a little bit less rotation, man. And let guys get in sync rhythm, run a little bit more tempo. But hey, I mean, the offense did great against teams like all throughout the year. I mean, they're good numbers, but Clark, to reach the ultimate goal, you got to figure out. There's got to be some stuff tweaked and wrinkled. I think going forward, and there will be. That you got 3 weeks, almost a dabbling full month to develop a game plan and really, and that's what we're going to see with these players and coaches. And I'm excited to see it because I think they can step up and do it. Because I love this football team and I love this coaching staff and I love these players and I'm excited to see it, Clark.
Yep. Back to the drawing board. So
there we go.
Let's talk about defense right quick. Shout out to Nakobe Dean. Today he won, he won the Butkus Award. Awesome. That is given to the nation's best linebacker. Great football player. He's going to make millions of dollars in the NFL. He's just a great kid. We got to speak to his dad at the Tennessee game. I think just a well-spoken individual. So good for Nakobe. He's a DGD. We appreciate all he's done for this university. And congrats on the Butkus Award. That is, I don't know how many Butkus Award winners we've had at Georgia. Was it Roquan?
Roquan was one, wasn't he? Yeah.
I'm
fairly certain about that.
Yeah. That just speaks to the job Glenn Schumann has done, and Dan Lanning, Kirby, all these guys to develop these kinds of players, these athletes. But, man, it was tough. It was tough getting to the quarterback, Bryce Young, yesterday. And I tell you, Adam, we talked about this yesterday too. Their line seemed to have picked up every single blitz we threw at them. Everyone.
That was the most shell-shocking moment of the game for me because you look, and I think that, I don't know. I should have. Had a lot of red and black glasses and shade on this past week. I think a lot of people did, but I thought truly that because of there was so much talent that we had this year going up against them, not being undermanned and under-talented like we have in the past against them, and just everything setting up, momentum rolling in, that I truly thought it might be this game that everything goes Georgia's way and it's just our night. And I figured you would win by 2 possessions.
Right.
And truly taking off red and black, I should have known Nick Saban, Alabama. It was an easy coaching job for Nick Saban this week.
That's a good
because
point.
It's just we're defending national championship. We're getting disrespected by every sports media outlet out there, and it just got the guys jacked. The offensive line, you hear about that, how they play against Auburn, 108th, and it's truly unbelievable they have those numbers.
And really, this game meant more to them than I think it did to us because they were fighting for. They knew it. They knew they had to win this game in order to get the playoff, which. They could have probably lost it and still gotten in.
Yeah, I think so, Clark. And I mean, I'll say it, especially the defensive side of the football. And I think each and every one of them would, Kirby would, everybody affiliated with the program would say it. It's not hard to see that some rat poison was bought into by this defense. Yeah. And in their defense, Clark, and thinking back, as an 18 to 22-year-old kid, and heck, even some of these guys on the coaching staff, it sinks in. When you have with how media is today, and you have social media, people always a lot of ways to hear outside noise. When you hear and you keep hearing it, how good you are and you can't be beat, generational stuff, you can't help but let that kind of creep in and think that. Well, and I think you saw it too. And I said it. I said it too, Clark. I said you have to at least rush 4 every single play. Mm-hmm. And you felt good with just rushing 4 that you get home and cause some disruption.
Didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think LSU and Auburn consistently brought more than 4. And that was a good, but I think our guys, especially in the first half, our coaching staff, and I said it too. So I'm not going to say, oh, what are they doing? Because I said it too. I thought we would get home comfortably and be more disruptive towards Bryce Young with just rushing 4 guys.
Right.
And that wasn't the case. I mean, you watched it. Those guys, it couldn't have been any more perfect. I don't know if you attribute that, and it's a mixture of both of the guys feeling disrespected in the Alabama's offensive line and running backs who are blocking, stepping up, or if it was so much film study. And Doug Marrone, their offensive line coach, who has been criticized by Alabama folks, and Bill O'Brien and the office staff, reading so much and knowing our stunting and different ways that we try to get guys to quarterback, and so dialed in and picking up on that they're coaching, and it's been a mixture of both. But either way, golly, that blew my mind more than anything about this football game, Clark, was Georgia's lack of ability to get Bryce Young rattled at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you looked at this game on paper going into it. Alabama, they were like 108th in sacks given up, and we're sitting here with 40-something on the year. I mean, you thought, man, surely to goodness, we will create some havoc in the backfield, flush Bryce Young out of the pocket, and then we got speed on the edges. But, man, I tell you, it just didn't work that way, and there was a lot of busted plays this game, a lot of busted coverages. That one to Jamison Williams, first touchdown they got, unreal. That kid is a freak athlete. I mean, that's world-class speed we're talking about there, people. And our poor secondary, man, they just got picked on all game. And
we got exposed.
We did. We got exposed. We're thin there already. You know, we had to get 2 guys from the transfer portal. One of them's hurt, out for the year.
Absolutely.
And you still, I mean, we're just so thin there. And that's where guys like you said yesterday, Otis Reese would have come in and helped us. Major Burns. All these guys who transferred, that would have helped us.
And Clark, I mean, you think back of it, because we started drinking some Kool-Aid and buying in as the season went.
Yeah.
And there really wasn't much elite quarterback. And it's not taking away anything that the defense is doing this season. Right. They are still jam up, talented, especially in the front. And the secondary has done a phenomenal job up now. And you'd be selfish to ask for more. But at the beginning of in the off season, last January of 21, we're sitting there and like, oh man, we better go hit the portal and get some guys on the secondary. And you go get Tyke Smith, you get Darion Kendrick, and some guys. And Smith gets hurt, and you're thin there. You have guys leave, and that's when I think for the first time, and truly, Clark, honestly, it's amazing that it took 13 games in the season with the unit, with the depletion there for that. For its ugly head to show there. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, and those guys are still good. I still believe in them. They're fine.
Yeah.
And to their point, too, I thought the game plan far as there, I know you're thinking you don't want to get beat on man-to-man matchups. You don't want to get beat off the line, but I felt like we were playing too soft and gave too much of a cushion for those speed burners that they have to not at least disrupt some rhythm and some routes by jamming them, getting a little bit, pressing a little bit more. Yeah. And I thought there was some too much of a cushion there. But again, I'm not a defense coordinator.
Well, and you're like I said, you're going up against elite talent. Jamison Williams, John Mechie, those kids, they're elite. They're freak athletes. And, I mean, I couldn't cover. So I'm not going to sit there and degrade the guys. But, yeah, I mean, it did show some flaws on our secondary. And some of it was coaching, I think. Some of it was just being a little bit outmanned.
Well, what happened, Clark, is the game plan seemed like in the first half, and I have to go back and look, but if I can recall correctly, especially in the second quarter, defense got overwhelmed in the second quarter, Clark. It was very reminiscent of the Florida game in 2020, where, I mean, it just all heck broke loose, and you couldn't do anything right, and the opponent, everything that they did just was flawless, you know. But I do think the first half game plan was that we thought our guys are better than them, and I said it too, that our guys are better than their front. We could get home with 4 and do that instead of the defense game plan that was given that you saw when Alabama struggled all throughout the regular season in those games that they did was you have to bring 5 or 6 inside linebacker and really pressure them, get to the quarterback. We weren't able to with 4 people last night, and I thought we would. But then in the second half, you see some guys starting to, I mean, you never got a sack on Bryce Young, but having to make, he already has a fast release anyway, but having to make him make quicker releases and getting to him, being disruptive to him a little bit more. And you didn't see as much offensive progression with him. And obviously John Mechie's out. He's out for the year. You hate that for the kid, for Alabama. But the defense did look better in the second half. You got to give them that. There was adjustments made, but then the offense couldn't. Just too little, too late. But I think that was something that if Coach Lannon, Coach Smart could go back, probably would have done things a little bit differently with the game plan defensively. And the depletion in the secondary, Clark, you got Chris Smith, God bless him, for coming out there. He's still limped up.
He is.
And you got to think about that. He's got 3 weeks to a month to recover. William Poole's out there.
Breeny's
a veteran guy.
Out too, right?
I think Breeny just, sure enough, it's just, to me, and I hate saying this about these kids, but I think he is the worst option as far as coverage and the pass game. Now I think he's a really good tackler and a guy. Yeah. If you face a run dominant team, and you might see him a lot in against Michigan, who has, I don't know, I really haven't seen. I think they're a little bit more of a traditional type offense, so that you might see Breeny get in there and stop the run. But when you face teams like Alabama who would throw the football, I think we felt like Poole was a better option at the nickel or that star look that on adding there, and that's where he really hurt missing Tyke Smith there, Clark. And Poole was not great in coverage. He blew some coverages too, and there was a lot of miscommunication. I think some busted plays that you saw a lot. Especially you saw, like, there's a couple times where Mechie was in the flat. They had a lot of guys open in the flats, but nobody 15 yards around them that were big gains. And it's busted coverage. Yeah. It's busted coverage.
And that's really uncharacteristic, because we've been saying all year, this Georgia team, this Georgia defense especially, is very, very disciplined. And we're not going to see a lot of that. But, you know, like I said, they exposed us. Hats off to them. Hats off to Bryce Young. They had a phenomenal game plan. They schemed very, very well. They were able to run the ball. Their line blocked great, probably the best against us all year. Yeah. And their receivers, I mean, like I said, they distributed the ball to different people. Jamison Williams, freak athlete, world-class athlete. He's going to be making millions of dollars too.
I mean, it truly is unbelievable how well they did against Georgia's defense, who obviously is a very, very good, talented, elite defense, with being one-dimensional too, Clark. Yeah. I mean, that was insane. Bill O'Brien, you have to tip your hat to him. Bill O'Brien, that offensive staff at Alabama, came out with a perfect game plan, and then the players just ran it to pretty much dang near perfection. Yeah. And offensive line, I think that was the biggest thing, was you let Young sit back there. He's so accurate and such a good quarterback, and I think he's going to win the Heisman. Will pick you apart. And those guys did. They picked up everything. They did. And that's the tale of the game. Yeah. That's the tale of the game. And for people out there who are mad about this loss and just throwing Stetson Bennett under the bus, then that is That's what it is, Clark. Is you have to talk about where the defensive shorts too. Coming up short with their play. But I think realistically now, though, Clark, you can't expect for defense against teams like Alabama to completely shut them down. They're going to get points. Offenses like that. That's how the game is now. But you have to have some key stops, about 4 or 5 stops in the game to beat Alabama. And second quarter just unraveled on us, and it was hard to play catch up. Hard to play catch up.
Yep. Let's move on to special teams right quick. Camarda, he boomed 2 punts. I don't think I've ever seen a kid punt as far as he does. I mean, truly, he punted one in the end zone from, I believe, our own 30 or something like that. It's crazy.
That's right.
Crazy.
That's right.
So good for him. He's a heck of a weapon still. And then, we didn't really get any big-time special team plays on defense or on – wait, did I say special teams plays? I mean, we didn't get any big plays, big scores or anything like that. Neither on defense or special teams. And really, we've had at least one each game we've played. So, you don't get any momentum through that. So
that's, special teams, you got to give Alabama credit when they did punt the ball. The few times that they punted the ball that they got down there and Kearis Jackson didn't have any room to run. So, but Camarda, great job punting the ball. Pinned Alabama back. Defense started in good field position, but they capitalized on it. But all in all, Clark, man, the whole thing is just Georgia fans do not need to get just bent out of shape completely about this.
I agree.
I mean, everybody's upset. Everybody knows where there was problems at, but don't abandon these guys. Alabama played the best game they played all year yesterday.
And we played the worst
And
one.
we played the worst we played all year. Now, it will be tough if you play them again to beat them, but I don't see how they could play that good, like that flawlessly, protect Young that flawlessly. And you got film. These coaches are professionals. They're good at what they do. They can study and make some wrinkles. And obviously, I know Alabama will too. But I really think that there will be another chance against them. And I think it'll be different. And Clark, I think too, there is a mindset with it. We talked about that. There isn't a mindset with the players, more so the fan base against Alabama. But I'm just going to be honest with you. After what I saw last night, I think there is a little bit of a feeling when these guys play Alabama, when they see that Crimson lined up against them, that is, and I don't know, maybe that's something I hope that we could overcome. But I think last night you could say that there is a little bit of that. But I truly believe what you're hearing of Kirby saying the locker room, that people were upset, disappointed with how they played, taking responsibility, and can't wait to get back to work. I believe that, and that's the team I'm going to get behind, and that's the team that I believe who could still win a national championship, Clark. And you're crazy, Clark. These fans are crazy of people who want to write off Georgia now, saying they're done with it. I don't want fans to be like that. Well, I mean, that's weak. That's weak, Clark. That is weak. People who say that they're just done with Georgia football, done with this, that's selfish, that's weak. And I mean,
self-absorbed, as Nick Saban said.
I mean, goodness gracious. I mean, we could criticize and people it needs to be pointed out, not just going to praise them and be like, oh, it's all right. Well, but you have to believe that this team, wait and see what they do in the playoff. Wait and see what happens to the hard work they put in the next 3 weeks, what this coaching staff does, the game planning, the wrinkles that are put out there before you start all this complete. We're still in the playoffs, Clark. We're still in the playoffs, and people need to realize that.
If I would have asked you preseason, hey, will you take the Dogs, go into the Orange Bowl playoff game, go 12-1 preseason? Would you have said, you wouldn't want that?
Voice crack. Yes, absolutely. I mean, I said, I talked myself into that Georgia's going to win the SEC championship, but I said honestly, before you saw them play a snap of football, I thought this team really could go 12-0, and I said in the preview show, they'll get beat by Alabama in the SEC championship. Then I think we could beat them again. Yeah. I do think that it'll be hard to beat this Georgia team Twice. And I think especially Oklahoma State losing, I think there was a good shot if you beat Alabama last night that they could still get in the playoffs. Yeah. And then I think it would be very hard to beat Nick Saban twice in the same season. But I think it would be hard to beat Kirby twice in the same season. I mean, you saw it. I think Georgia, and I'll say this too, and I know it's a different animal, and I know game plan against Gus Malzahn is completely different than game plan against Nick Saban. I understand that. But me and you, Clark, this podcast is a fan podcast. We bring positivity and good energy to it, right? So 17, I think you get dominated in a football game and play worse in Opelika, Alabama in the back half of the season. And 17, than you did yesterday, honestly.
Yeah.
And you come back and you beat them in the SEC championship. Again, it's different. Auburn and Alabama, Malzahn and Saban, but it's Kirby adjusted the game plan against Auburn and beat them that. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to look for positive and optimism, that's one of them. And it's not like, I do not think, though, Clark, if you get another, and we're putting the cart before the horse because you still got to get through Michigan, who's playing outstanding football, but you have a chance to play Alabama again, Clark.
Right.
How many opportunities do you it's rare that you have an opportunity to avenge what you your loss in the same season with the same team. And this group, I think, will take advantage of it. I mean, they very well could get beat by Alabama again, obviously, but I do not think you will see a game that was replicated like it was last night again against them, because I think Georgia will play better football. I think there will be a better game plan, and I think Alabama's going to be vulnerable without Mechie.
Yeah,
I think that's going to be tough.
It kind of reminds me, going back to that 17 game. You know, you had Kerryon Johnson, arguably the best player on that football team, who was out with an injury, and so maybe that's the same thing with Mechie. Once again, we don't wish injury on anybody, but with that said, it does make Georgia's job just a little bit easier on the defensive side of the football, if we even get that chance. But like you said, Adam, we got the Orange Bowl. We got to play Michigan. That game is December 31st. Woo! New Year's Eve. You better not have any plans that day. Yeah, we're going to hopefully get a win and shoot some fireworks. That's what we're going to do.
Dang right, Clark.
So with that said, we will release a preview episode on Monday, December 27th. So different day. We will release it Monday, December 27th, though. So look out for that. Yeah. Michigan, they're playing some pretty good football. Let's keep it kind of general.
Yeah.
But anything you want to say about
them? Clark? Well, first off, let's just say this again. Again, to put the fan base in a good mindset and count your freaking blessings and be glad for Kirby Smart, this team and a Georgia Bulldog. Has there only been like 6 teams? I think Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and now Georgia, who since 2014 has reached the playoffs as a program more than once, 2 times. Yeah. So Georgia's in that elite group. Kirby Smart's in that elite group. So first off, know that. We're getting to go to the playoffs. We get a chance. Yes, I love this matchup, Clark. I love having a traditional blue blood against a program that is as hungry as we are. Right. You know, they haven't won a national championship since 97, hadn't won a conference championship outright since 2003. Well, they just did this past Saturday. Passionate fan base, a fan base that's across the nation. They're going to show up in droves, Clark.
They will.
So Georgia fans need to, too. And you can bet they're going to be excited about it. You can bet that everywhere in the state of Michigan and all Michigan fans are amped. So Georgia fans need to get amped.
Yeah.
Forget this. Throw this behind.
Pouting.
You quit feeling sorry for yourself and say, oh, we just can't beat Alabama, because we're going to have another shot against Alabama, Clark. And, I mean, there's a lot that needs to happen. This Michigan team can definitely beat you. But, shoot, you got 3 weeks to get healthy. You're going to get guys like George Pickens, who's going to get in more and more game shape. Sawyer's going to get a lot more healthy. Chris Smith's going to get a whole lot more healthy. You're going to get guys rested, and I'm excited to see a Georgia team that is well rested, refocused, more wrinkles in the game plan, a lot
humble.
Humble. That's key, Clark. The coaching staff and players alike. And I think there's going to be a lot of guys. Heck, Clark, we might even see some younger guys who are going to get even more valuable reps in practice to make an impact on defense. I will look out for Dumas Johnson, Small Money. Some of them pass rushers might get another chance.
I tell
Clark.
you, and that's what Kirby said too. He said, all the jobs are up for grabs.
Yeah, so there's going to be quarterback competition everywhere. There's going to be a lot of energy, and I think one thing that we missed Adam Anderson tremendously. Tremendously. So another edge rusher guy. I think, Dumas Johnson, a high motor, Smile Monday, some guys that really might hear, that this is a time where it's critical for young players to kind of get some more reps, grow a little bit. So I'm excited to say I think Georgia will come out firing all cylinders, and I'm going to believe that until there's not a reason for me to not believe that this team loves each other, great chemistry, dialed in, ultimate goal in mind. Every team in college football had a game like Georgia did Saturday night. Every team did this year, except Cincinnati, but you could argue that really didn't play anybody. So, but I think this team's going to be focused, and I'm excited to see a team that is energized, hungry, and getting a lot of guys back healthy, and seeing what Monken and Landon and Kirby and everybody comes up with game plans going into the next 2 games. It's a 2-game season now, Clark. Right. Everything's out there. You're 0-0. Forget that. Look, the SEC championship, if you don't let it, as a program creep in, it could have no effect on what your ultimate goal is for the end of the season. I mean, it's there, and you have a chance. It's not only there. You want to date the prom queen, right? You want to date the prom queen, and then when you don't get to date the prom queen, your dreams go out the window. Well, you whiff last night again. You ask her out again, she says no again, but you have another chance to be impressive, and then you get the opportunity to ask her out again.
Is she Alabama?
She's Alabama. So you have a chance to ask her out again, right? So, I mean, that's the thing. They're there. There's another chance. You don't get that opportunity. So get jacked up about having that opportunity again, Clark.
That's right.
Everybody needs to know that. Get behind this team. Believe in these players. We were a little bit critical. It had to be said, but every single one of them I believe in. Even Stetson Bennett, Clark. Even Stetson Bennett and whoever else. These guys have done so much for the University of Georgia. We as fans owe it to get behind them.
That's it.
Get jacked. I'm excited to see what they're going to do. I'm excited to read practice reports going forward. It's going to be high energy, and I love Kirby Smart. There should be no other man in charge of Georgia football than Kirby Smart. People need to know that. Stop just wanting to be high school women with drama and gossip and get excited about this team, man. You got to be miserable not to be excited about your favorite team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's go.
Adam, we got some soul searching to do. Just quit pouting.
Let's go. That's all it is. Michigan's going to be tough, but you get a chance to win another New Year's Six Bowl. You haven't been in the Orange Bowl since 1960 against Missouri. You play Michigan for the first time since 1965 in Vince Dooley's second year going up to Ann Arbor. It's a special time. It's got the prime time slot on New Year's Eve. A lot of eyes around the nation going to be watching Georgia. So let's do it. Let's go. Get back fired up. Get back fired up. Then we're going to keep getting jacked up about it. No negativity, man. Until, I'm not going to be negative, Clark. I'm not going to be negative.
I'm not either. I encourage every one of y'all to be the same way. We're in the playoffs. We're going to do the dang thing. We're going to beat Michigan. I have a good feeling about that game. We'll talk more about it soon.
And then we'll get back amped up about Alabama, baby.
Hopefully this time it'll be a little bit different.
Yes, sir.
But anyway.
Let's do it.
Any final thoughts, Adam?
Final thoughts, Clark. Shoot, man. I mean, last night's disappointing. I mean, we've said it. We've rehashed it. I think we've said everything that's being talked about in the community about it. And just take everything you read on message boards, Facebook, Twitter with a grain of salt and develop your own opinion. See what you see from like Kirby Smart interviewing and don't just freak out over stuff. That's what I want to leave the people with who do that stuff is I'm not saying that some of the stuff out there is speculation. It's not even worth diving deep into. Is it true? But if I had to bet the house on if it is or not, I don't think it is. It's not. It's not. Believe that this team is going to go forward and win and have a good – I'm excited about that. I'm excited about it, Clark. Like you said, in the preseason, everybody and their brother would be excited about the position Georgia's in.
Right.
You're one of 4 remaining teams to win a national championship. A great shot to do it. Let's just watch it, see what happens, baby.
Go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby. Hoo, 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 hoo.